Lots of vehicles. In fact, there's even some from Cypress Police Department. This is Crime Watch. Hello and welcome to Crime Watch. I'm Jane Cameron with Sergeant Chris Nunez of the Buena Park Police Department. You know, 7 o'clock at night just isn't the right time to have a car accident.
No, I don't think any time is right to have a traffic accident, but as you can see in this particular case, it looks like it was probably a spectacular crash. Luckily, it doesn't appear that anyone is injured though.
So how does a car get turned around in the middle of the street?
Well, this little, it looks like, I'm not sure, maybe a Honda car, I can't tell from here, was actually a rollover collision. There's an SUV in the parking lot here behind us that was also involved. So I believe what occurred, at least the investigators have shared with me that both vehicles were northbound on Knott Avenue here. And either this smaller vehicle was traveling pretty fast, or the SUV made an unsafe lane change. So we're getting mixed information from witnesses and from driver statements. So it'll be a little bit before the traffic investigator is able to collect all this information and look at the physical evidence on the street to be able to come up with an assessment of what actually occurred.
You know, it's interesting, the fire department was here, but no ambulance, so somebody survived a rollover?
Yeah, that's great news. The paramedics were here, and in fact we saw them leaving as we came up. They were able to determine that nobody was hurt even before the ambulance arrived, so the ambulance was probably canceled.
You know, I know the investigation is just beginning to start, but you know, it makes me think maybe the seatbelts were on so that somebody could survive this.
More than likely, honestly, I don't know, but that's certainly part of the questioning when the investigators look into crashes. On the state traffic accident, collision investigation form that we use, that's one of the questions that are asked.
Interesting, 7 o'clock at night, you've got a lot of people way down at the intersection there. It's shut down because this takes up. Traffic is probably going back quite a ways.
Yeah, we have the intersection closed at Lincoln here, so the debris field that this collision encompasses is quite large. So you can't travel north on Knott at all from Lincoln. And so we have traffic diverted both east and west on Lincoln Avenue. So it is kind of a mess right now.
And it's just a matter of trying to figure it all out quickly, clean it up, and then open it up again?
Right.
You mentioned that you have conflicting reports between the two drivers. How do you figure out who's saying it right and who's not telling the truth?
Well, this was preliminary information. I just got a real quick brief when we arrived from the officers, but the information that's really the best is the physical evidence. And if you look at the debris field out there on the street, there's quite a bit of it. So that includes things like skid marks, gouges in the roadway, glass and just vehicle parts that get strewn around. That's all physical evidence that gets evaluated and investigated just like any other crime whether it be a burglary or even a gunshot incident, that sort of thing. So when you take that kind of evidence and overlay statements that you get from eyewitnesses, and also in this case drivers of both vehicles, you kind of simmer down what the truth is, and you're able to figure out, throw out the things that just don't make sense based on physical evidence.
Do the officers that take the report, do they get additional training in order to understand some of the semantics that are involved with this situation?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, your average patrol officer, unless they have some collision investigation training, may not see the value in a lot of this physical evidence that I'm talking about. But in this case, there's actually a traffic officer on scene, and he's being assisted by other patrol officers. And this officer does have the training to be able to kind of read the evidence and come up with what the truth is in terms of what caused the accident.
And there's a lot of evidence, you said.
In this particular case, yeah, it must have been a spectacular crash. This little car here behind us actually rolled over, and we're just really lucky that nobody was hurt.
Fire's not here yet?
34 conscious and breathing.
Okay, good.
Copy.
You can go 1034.
That often if you see possibly the fire department or the paramedics on scene, you see police officers, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's some type of a law enforcement or issue, right?
That's correct. In fact, this particular call wasn't a police related type of call, but we were actually dispatched to assist with a medical aid call.
Now, why would the police department be dispatched when you've got the fire department coming from the fire stations?
Well, that's the reason why. The fire department comes from the fire station. And the police units, the police cars, are already out in the field normally driving around on patrol. So it's really common that we would get to a location before the paramedics do.
Well, as a police officer, how can you help if it's a medical situation?
Well, all police officers get basic first aid training, and we do carry real limited first aid equipment in our patrol cars. Probably most notable is an AED. That's a portable defibrillator. So if someone is having a heart attack or has a cardiac issue, this piece of equipment can help with that. We also carry like bag valve masks, which make it easier for us to be able to assist someone with breathing without having to do the old-fashioned, mouth to mouth, which quite frankly is rarely done anymore, just because of what we've learned through, in the way of communicable diseases and that sort of thing. So.
I know that, officers are trained to be calm in emergencies, so you can think clearly, but a medical aid is not something that you're used to, I would think. So is there any difficulty in a police officer who's usually with a gun and doing that type of enforcement, having a medical help situation?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not real comfortable personally. I do respond and I do assist, to the extent my training and experience allows me to. But the paramedics are the experts in terms of medical aid response. But like I said, we're required to have basic first aid training, which we get, and we do have the equipment, and because we're usually the first there, we have to be able to roll our sleeves up and pitch in when it's absolutely necessary.
I would think that someone who calls 911, they're looking for help, so they're just glad someone's arriving.
Right, and very often, like in this particular case, the initial information we got through dispatch that this patient wasn't breathing, so we did arrive before the paramedics did, and we were able to determine that they were in fact breathing. So a lot of times, just like with the normal kind of police-related calls we go on, the information we get may not be completely accurate.
Mm-hmm. And you're there to make sure that things turn out for the better.
Sure, and we get there and we're able to pass that information along to the fire units that are en route, so they get a better picture of the type of call they're rolling into.
Believe it or not, we're going code 3 right now, which means lights and sirens and really fast, right?
Lights and sirens and pretty fast, just in case my boss is listening. Actually, we have a responsibility to drive safe even in code 3 mode. But we're on our way actually to assist the Cypress Police Department. They were following or chasing, I'm not sure which yet, a burglary suspect into Buena Park. So we're headed to that area to help them out.
It's nice to see people understanding what they're supposed to do when somebody comes through with the way you're coming through.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't always happen that way, though.
Clear on the right.
Responding to the AOD, the requesting 1 unit, San Rafael and San Ramon. Another in San Clemente.
We're getting instructions here.
San Clemente.
So yeah, just to finish that comment, you really don't know what to expect with motorists when emergency vehicles are traveling code 3 mode. So we're getting close, so I'm going to shut down here and we'll sneak in a little quieter.
Now, what's interesting and what we haven't talked about tonight is not only is Sergeant Nunez on the show, but he's also the sergeant for the watch. So you've got other responsibilities besides the cameraman and I.
Yeah, this is my regular shift, my normal work shift. So my crew works swing shift hours, and so whenever there's a notable call or something the supervisor should respond to, then that means me.
That means, though, you don't have to do paper. I already learned that.
Most of the time, that's true.
Designated common frequency so we can operate on, and then contact station 36 and advise them once we get that clearance.
So, in other words, Sergeant Nunez is multitasking.
Okay, we're here, so I'll get out and see if I can find one of the Cypress officers working this and figure out how we can help them. You have a roll call of 30, 23 units here.
Why don't we just switch to their channel?
Okay.
Instead of going to,
Number 14, what's your location?
you know what I mean? We had a
Speed
channel.
to the 91, I'm responding code 1.
Number 15, what's your location?
Okay. Maybe just wait right here. There is a suspect, 2 of them, loose on foot. So just kind of hang over.
Usual frequency, yeah. Switch to their green.
Did you get the word the point?
I'm really surprised how many police cars are here.
Yeah, we got help from, we're helping Cypress, and I also saw officers from La Palma and their supervisor here as well. So evidently, there's a fairly large perimeter, and we have officers checking a house down the street right now as we speak.
Explain to me how you can have officers from other departments, like Buena Park, responding into Cypress. How does that work?
Well, it's just a matter of a phone call, pretty much. Cypress knew that they were out of their jurisdiction, so they don't know the area as well as their own city. So they were asking for our help with setting up this perimeter for their burglary suspects. And there is a mutual aid agreement in existence that's countywide. All chief police and the sheriff in the county agree on an emergency basis, such as this, that when needed. They're talking to me.
They want to talk to the watch commander or you?
Okay, I'm back. That we come together for on a limited basis to assist allied agencies with resources, manpower, and that sort of thing.
So are we in Buena Park or Cypress?
We are in Buena Park. Now, let me answer the radio for a second.
What did I hear on the radio about a canine unit?
Yeah, to assist us with the search, the Cypress supervisor was asking if our canine was available, and turns out tonight is a training shift for him, and he's actually training in a nearby city. He's in the city of Placentia training tonight. So we did get a hold of him, and he's on his way here. So he'll break off from his training and come here and assist with the search.
Now, not to cut this down by any means, but you have a lot of police officers here, and who are they looking for? What did they do?
They're actually looking for two suspects who apparently have been repeatedly burglarizing the same grocery store. So the suspects were known to, I'm trying to fill in a little bit here since the supervisor's down the block. The suspects were known to the merchant because they have actually stolen from them before. Apparently they are stealing alcohol and have done so on other occasions. So when they showed up at the store tonight, they were recognized and had in fact committed a burglary, and a Cypress officer had picked up their vehicle leaving the scene.
Okay. Why so many officers? You mentioned that it was a large area. Is that the reason?
That's one reason. We're dealing with multiple suspects. There are two of them. The search area, the perimeter is large. So in other words, to have a perimeter that is sufficiently secure, especially a large one, it takes tremendous resources in terms of personnel. And even though the suspects are looking for tonight are burglars, there's still a lot of unknowns. We don't know if they're armed. We don't know if they know people in this area. So, it's better to be cautious.
When the canine the police dog shows up, I'm sure it'll be easier. But right now, we're in a residential area. How in the world do police officers search this type of an area? Yeah,
it's difficult, and quite often we get help from the residents in an area by calling in tips. Someone will hear noise on the side of their house, or security light will go on in their backyard, that sort of thing. So that helps us kind of pinpoint an area where there might be suspicious activity. So that's real common in these types of incidents. Hasn't happened yet. We've been out here for a little bit. Other than some reports from residents about the initial stop when the suspect stopped here, we haven't gotten any calls. So what we do is just kind of keep things locked down, and then we start searching, little chunks of the area, and a canine can do that much quicker than officers on foot.
Do you do door knocking and checking on the residences?
We do. A lot of times residents will come out of the house to inquire what's going on, which is pretty common. So we're able to share with residents what's happening and make suggestions, about what they should do, like lock your doors, give us a call if you see or hear, suspicious activity around your house, that sort of thing. So right now we're kind of in a wait mode. We did search one house in particular, and there was no, suspects weren't there.
So finally, we're leaving. It's been, about 2.5 hours?
About that, yes.
And the final outcome?
Well, there were originally 2 suspects, so with a combination of assistance from the helicopter.
Angel.
It was Angel, that's Anaheim Police Air Unit.
And how many K-9 units?
I have no idea. There was an entire training group. I mentioned our canine handler was training tonight, and he brought his entire training group with him. So we had, I don't know, 5 or 6 dogs probably.
And then there were 4 or 5 agencies?
Well, at least that. Probably more when you consider all the canine handlers come from various North Orange County agencies. So the initial response was Cypress, of course, and ourselves. But then when you add the canine training group, there were agencies from La Habra, Placentia, Brea, and I think Los Alamitos was there. So it was a really, really good example of that mutual aid scenario that I had mentioned earlier.
And then there was more information that they were able to find out about the suspects before they were contacted.
Yeah, a lot of that was just pretty basic investigation that they initiated right away. So working the perimeter, getting the resources in place to be able to start a systematic, methodical search takes time. So during that time frame, just through basic investigation, they were able to identify one of the people associated with that vehicle. And it turns out, if I didn't mention, we did locate one out of the 2 suspects, and he's in custody. But the person that we didn't find, they know who that person is. So now it's just a matter of time.
It was interesting to see the officers going around the community, with the basic idea that you had these suspects out there and you're trying to keep the community safe. And, that's kind of what the season coming up is all about, which is the 4th of July and making sure that the communities are staying safe with the fireworks.
Yeah, I'd like to take a few minutes, if we could, to kind of talk about 4th of July. For us, it's a busy time frame for a variety of reasons, one of which Buena Park is one of very few communities in the county that allow safe and sane fireworks. There's typically more parties, yard parties, that sort of thing, and occasionally people have a tendency to use this as an opportunity, for alcohol and that sort of thing to come into play. So we do make minor adjustments in terms of staffing and what our whole approach is going to be regarding enforcement and those sorts of things. So I just wanted to let our viewers know that 4th of July is coming, and there are a number of safety tips that I think people should be thinking about now as they plan for their parties and their celebrations.
What kind of safety tips do you have for the 4th?
Well, probably first and foremost, I mentioned Buena Park does allow fireworks. They must be the safe and sane variety, and those are the types of fireworks that you can buy from one of the many fireworks booths that are spread around town. So those booths are typically sponsored by different groups and use that as a fundraising opportunity. So it's from scouts to different organizations like Boys and Girls Club and so on. Booster groups for high school sports teams, those sorts of things. So because it's a fundraising opportunity, it truly, the entire holiday, from selling the fireworks to enjoying the fireworks as a method of celebrating the 4th, encompasses many aspects of the community. So we want our citizens to be able to enjoy the holiday, but yet, be responsible.
Meaning keep the safe fireworks on the ground?
Well, yes, and you make an excellent point. You can take safe and sane fireworks, and if you use them improperly, you're right back to square one in terms of breaking the rules, breaking the law. You can get a ticket and be prosecuted, and we just hope to avoid that. So we just want to remind folks, let's just be responsible so everyone can have an enjoyable time.
I've heard of people taking like a bucket of water and having it nearby in case something gets out of control.
Sure, driving around town on the 4th, I see excellent examples of families and neighborhoods in some cases that do a real excellent job of managing the celebration for their kids.
And keeping the kids away from the fireworks, especially the little ones too.
Keeping the kids away, that's right. Having a bucket of water or water hose available. Using safe and sane fireworks only. Those sorts of things. Being responsible adults in terms of managing, your alcohol at the celebrations. Those are just a real short list of really good ideas I want people to start to think about. We're still a few weeks out from the holiday, and hopefully, we'll be able to have a very nice celebration in town without, any real issues. That'll be my celebration as well. So hopefully everything will go just fine.
If you have any questions about tonight's show, you can call the Buena Park Police Department at 562-3901. And what's the website? It's www.bppd.com. With Sergeant Chris Nunez of the Buena Park Police Department, I'm Jane Cameron. We caught the bad guy tonight. Thanks for watching.